Hey guys,
Hi.
we are back live. You know, you always have to have the very first time when things didn't work out as perfect as always they do. So we just took a short break, and we're back, and we're here with Dr. Leon and Madelyn Alexander, who are a husband and wife team, and they own Eurisco Design, who is unbelievable furniture, design, architecture specifically done for the modern salons. Um, Leon, Madelyn, we were talking about your photography. We're talking about how you got into being a photographer. What do you do as a photographer? And how important it is the eye of a photographer, because the eye of a consumer is where the future of the salon. So I want you to bring that photography and how important it is when you design an architect, or when you design a salon, and when you design lighting, and where you design anything to do with ambiance and feelings, so the consumer would love to be where they're coming.
Is that for me or for Madeline?
Well, that's Madelyn, because Madelyn is the design perspective from a photography. You take that microphone, Madelyn. Go for it.
Well, I'm in the situation where Leon designs the salon and then I photograph. So as far as the
Capture.
design, of the actual finished salon, then of course then I get to go in and do my magic. But it's it's all important as far as knowing what to look for. Like when I arrive at for a photo shoot, you need to go. You need to just walk around, sit back, and look, because what I'm looking for is things that would stand out to me or a consumer, not the salon owner or the even people who work in the salon, because they're there all the time. They see it, and then they don't see all the little things. So it's all the small details that I'm looking for to either remove or relocate, or put in the right position to make the photographs to the ultimate show off this design, show off the salon.
Yeah. Okay. So now, when you take the all the images of the finished project in the salon, where would you use all these images?
First of all, what we do is we will give the salon owner copies, and we provide them with high res, because they might use those high res for advertisements, for their website, or just to show off their salon. I also give them email versions, because then they can do like photo blast and send that out to consumers on once a week. Hey, here's our new color section. Come on and try, what we've done in the color, or the little chill out section where all the small important parts of the salon that make up the one big place that consumers want to go to, consumers want to visit.
And from the perspective of the consumer, what should they be, what would attract them to a salon? And when you're capturing the image, what should not be in an image? Because you're not, it's so important to bring a professional to a salon and take pictures that really show the interior. So what are the things when you're setting up the image, when you're setting up the setting, what is important to bring out in a photo?
First of all, natural light. You want to use natural light. You don't want to use any artificial light. There's enough light in the salon that you can capture so many details of the salon itself, the components of. You want to make sure that you don't shoot in the middle of the day when all this sunlight's coming through, because then that's, it's competing, and you don't want that to happen. So either late in the evening, it shouldn't be dark where it's like 10 o'clock at night, but you want to make sure that you see some kind of a little glow outside.
Yeah.
So you want what you want is the consumer. If you consumer sees a beautiful salon, photographs, everything is so visual, and when they see that it's done and it's perfect, then people are going to want to come in. They're going to want to come check it out.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So speaking about the design, from your perspective, from the photo perspective, from the inside perspective, Leon, in the past, you've seen so many different type of designs where even in the Sassoon times, it used to be black and white, a lot of black and white. Then the red came to it. Then there was a little Art Deco. And then there was that big, huge independent design, where everybody had their own idea of what they want to do, and they showcase, um, their art of what they think that a salon needs to look like, not really for the eye of the consumer, but more of like how I want it to feel when I'm there. What are we going inside the future? What is the future design of a salon needs to have today? Should it be any kind of a style? Should it be any kind of color on the wall? What is your opinion?
Well, it's a good question, and there are many different answers. There isn't. I don't like trends, because trends come and go. If you have a recycled wood look, um, that's not going to look good in 10 years' time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like trends that are just here for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I like sustainable looks that should look good in 10 years' time. With regard to certain materials and certain colors, that depends on the demographics of the consumer. If you're in central New York, or you're in a village in Midwest, you've got a different demographic. It depends whether it's a high street or not. It depends if it's uh, other aspects of the design of the consumer. Is it an affluent area or not? So there's many, many components, and you have to look at a needs analysis. One of the important facets is, don't design it around your own particular color scheme and vision. Design it around the emotions of the consumer, accommodating the functionality of service. Salons historically have been designed around a service business. The future's not that. The future's design it around the emotions of the consumer. That's what Apple stores do.
Yeah.
They design it around the emotions and build the functionality. But the future of design is going to be dramatically different than it is today.
In what way? In what way is it going to be different?
Technology is going to change a segment of the industry.
Yeah.
So, if you look at our industry and you could break that down, you can't evolve the industry, you can't change the industry.
Yes.
You can change a segment of it. If you
Yeah.
look at, you've got budget salons, you've got chain salons, you've got high-end salons. You've got suites, you've got commission, you've got team-based pay. You've got high street salons, you've got destination salons, all different components. So we tend to work with the high-end salons. There's going to be a split in the high end. The ones that are going to be the pioneers are going to be implementing some of the things that I'm going to talk about now.
Yeah.
And they will be the future. There are certain technology ideas that have come out that's going to be generic to everyone. So, for example, wireless tools, no wires for curling irons or dryers.
Right.
That's going to be applicable to everyone.
Yeah.
Intelligent brushes. I mean, brushes with sensors that can analyze hair condition, protein content, and elasticity. Again, that's going to be applicable to service providers and salon owners.
Yeah.
We're going to change, technology is going to change. In some salons, they're going to be scanning the hair as the consumer walks in the salon.
Yes.
And as they walk in, a smart analyzer will test it for the prognosis on optimum hair health, and they'll be able to recommend appropriate things for them.
Which I think it's fabulous because it's kind of delivers some sort of an authority if you have that technology. Now, how soon is this technology coming, Leon?
I think it depends on which technology, but I have to tell you, it's out now. It's just not out in our industry.
Well, it's just like that forward. I don't know if you've heard about forward lamps, which are a private doctors. I don't know if you heard of forward. It's great because it's private set of doctors, like really top doctors, and they're opening in every major cosmopolitan state, and you walk in and you get scanned immediately. So it analyze everything from hair to skin to color and gives you the data right then.
Right.
And so it's kind of like really cool. There's actually one in Miami, one in Chicago. They're popping everywhere now.
So scanning hair is already out in Japan.
Yes.
When you go into some of the top salons, they scan hair.
Yeah.
Voice activated smart mirrors or mobile devices in the styling
Right.
station that will convert a digitally personalized experience. The future, we've evolved from service to a generic experience, but the future is personalized experiences. Personal music for consumers instead of having generic music.
Absolutely.
Teenagers to mature people with the same track.
Yeah.
Robot hair washers.
Yeah.
With 16 fingers, a robot washes hair and rinses the shampoo bars with the dexterity of human fingers.
Right.
That's
But
just,
I do believe though that Robert are great and they're awesome, but when it comes to the number one most enjoyable service that people will say is always the touch of shampoo. The massage that goes within. So I hope that that's not going to get replaced yet, right?
well, I don't think it'll be yet, but let me tell you, when you go into a top salon in Japan, they have robot shampoos better than a consumer, better than someone doing it. To me, if you've got your eyes closed and you've got 16 fingers with dexterity massaging the spots in your scalp,
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's human or not because your eyes are closed.
Right.
I mean, other things like virtual salon retail, technology that you link from your website, and you've got augmented reality to be able to walk through and choose
Absolutely.
with an artificial intelligent concierge who advises you what your hair type like. Is it fine? Is it curly? The appropriate products. Artificial intelligent booking systems to take the
Mhm.
away from the desks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so much technology that's going to be coming out. 360-degree video capture to view the hair from every angle. Augmented reality hair color. It's already out in the Amazon salon. So you can actually go and superimpose your image on an avatar and see thousands of different colors beforehand.
Yeah, and for anybody who is just joining us into this show, we had the first 15 minutes of it, we had some difficulties with our network. But Dr. Leon and Madelyn Alexander both have a company that is Yorisco Design, really high-end, high-fashion services for designing the salon of the future right now. We've been talking a lot about the future of salon and what's coming out. And so that might provoke some uncomfortable feeling to all of you. Maybe it's overwhelming feeling of like, that's too much. That's too much. I hear that a lot. I hear that, we're not ready to embrace what's coming. So let's reverse engineer it and bring it to what it is today. and let's take little steps, little shavings of getting to the place where with the river, not against the river. We don't want to stay behind. We want to continue growing, and we want to evolve with all the new innovation. So Madelyn, Leon, what do you guys recommend for anybody that is, we're talking about salons that have 6,000 square feet to salons that have 1,500 square foot. Where would be the sweet spot of the future?
Well, the only thing that really we should fear is apathy. That's the only thing we should fear, because quite a number of salons, whether it's 6,000 square feet or 1,500 square feet, are not running at the profit level they should be. And they may fear technology, and technology is only there to enhance the experience of the consumer,
right?
To enhance the experience of the service provider and benefit the service provider and salon. If it doesn't do that, you shouldn't use technology.
Right.
It's not there for technology's sake. It's there to enhance the business and the consumer's experience.
Absolutely.
And what we have to do is we need to write a whole new business model around profitability, of which technology is part of it. It's not the panacea. It's not the answer to the future. The future's still touch and tech.
Mm-hmm.
We're never going to get away from that. But if we're frightened to move forward because we're in a comfort zone, I quite understand.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think of steps towards that,
mm-hmm.
before you do steps towards it, begin with the end in mind. How do you see your business in 5 years? I see my business there. Okay, so you're not going to go from here to there. Then you can take incremental steps towards that vision. You can't take steps unless you know where you're going. You have to look at everything you do. So you have to create a strategic blueprint and a model that is sustainable with the consumer in mind, and then work within the financial restraints, the human resources restraints, and the technological restraints that you have towards that vision.
Absolutely.
Any business in or out of industry that's profitable creates that model.
Absolutely. We spoke of it many times. And whenever I speak in any conversation that I am, or in front of conference, we continue bringing how we should attract new clients and how we should attract and retain new clients. And that's all great. The experience of the salon is so important. But here's the thing. We have to be able not only to afford the new innovations, we have to be able to acquire team that is a powerful team, that think like investors, that wants to move forwards, that wants to grow, wants to self-grow. And for that, you need to be able, we need to be able to have that. That was Bill going through Willie's apartment, and the dogs are all over the place.
God, I'm trying to get out of here.
Well, the thing is that we have to think about how can we afford.
Okay, so here's one of the important factors. Whether you're doing 1,500 or 6,000, you have to have a model. It doesn't have to be a big empire. It doesn't have to be that. But there's one thing I say before I would say afford it. There's a very famous quote by the CEO of Blockbusters, who actually said, this online technology is just a fad. There are so many companies like Blockbusters that you can quote who hoped it would go away. It's like having a pain and not going to the doctor because you're frightened of what he's going to tell you. So I don't think that way. I think that if the future's coming at us, whether we like it or not, we either get on board.
Bill, just sit down.
Or we drown. And I think when it comes to the financial restraints of it, there's collaboration involved. We're working with salons now that are collaborating with wine bars, cafes, that bring consumers to their business and they finance that component. There's additional retail other than wet products, so we can look at the model now where we're just selling shampoo, and say it's the same consumer. You know, Walgreens are now doing financial services. There's banks in some Walgreens. Capital One have cafes because they realize that they want to keep people longer in a location and create higher average ticket. So there are ways of creating income. The choice is this. With the shortage of quality staff now and reliant on staff, and the fact that Amazon's not going away, the margins are just, if we continue what we're doing, the margins have just continued to shrink.
Absolutely.
So we have to create again, I repeat it, a consumer-centric and profit-centric model that's designed at maximizing the potential.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's 1,500 or 6,000. The goal is not to increase the business. The goal is not to take the business to the next level. The goal is to maximize the potential of the business or color or retail area.
And what Leon is saying is it's a business. Treat it as a business.
Absolutely.
They own salons. I think they own businesses that happen to be the beauty
In
industry.
the hair business.
And I would like to, and I would like to bring some clarity to it, because when you saying it's a business, treat it as a business, that means that if you are going to grow any kind of a business, you have to look at this. What is your role? Your role as a leader? Are you spending most of your time on growing your clients based on the chair, or are you spending time, because now if you have 3 or 4 or 5 employees, it's no longer about you and your client. It's about the company that you have around. How are you supporting them? Are you providing an opportunity for any new staff member to come to grow, to create the income that they need to create in order for them to want to invest in your company? How are you attracting new teams? What are you doing in order to attract new teams? Because these days, especially after the year that we had, everything has changed. People don't want to work for $12 an hour. People don't want to work for $13 an hour. People want to have a lifestyle that they deserve. So include that in the calculation of your business model, right? That's profitability.
Well, you're right. I mean, look, when you said that, it's no longer about you standing behind a chair. It never was. People now are beginning to get it. And that's why at the beginning I said that you're going to have the high end split. People that will continue in the model they're doing, and they'll do okay. But okay is not good enough in my book. Or they will be pioneers, and they'll run the business, create additional profit areas, make sure that it's profitable, collaborate with people, introduce technology, and have a forum that consumers will want to go to. And they will be the pioneers, and there's a place in the future for them.
Leon, I would love for you guys to huddle together and bring 5 gems between us, okay? 5 gems of, if we can suggest 5 gems that if you implement in your business, you will be able to thrive. So the number 1 gem, okay, that I'm going to bring into the table is profitability. Learn what is your cost of doing business per hour and what you need to bring per hour according to the future of the salon. Lump it all together, divided by the hours that you have to offer. Okay, this is a big nugget, guys. Lump it all together, whether it is education, your salary a year, your staff salary a year, all the new tools or technology that you need to bring in, whether it's pods or whether it's Nespresso machine, beautiful Nespresso, whatever that is, lump it as the cost of doing business, divided by the hours that you have, and then see what is the margin of profitability that you want to be in, and that is what you need to get as an income per hour. That's a really simple formula to get there. So that's gem number one. Gem number two, Leon and Madelyn, what do you think will be great for a new salon owner to invest right now to attract the right people and the right staff?
Well, I mean, I just want to touch on what you said and just share something that I've always done. It's not a typical way of looking at a business model, but most salons look at their expenses and then they create a price list based on their expenses, etc. I didn't do it that way. I decided that I begin with the end in mind, I wanted 15% profit. I then looked at my fixed and floating costs and then looked at my average ticket times a 60% occupancy and created my price structure, which will then give me a 15% profit. So I
Yes.
did with end in mind. Now,
Absolutely, that's the way.
if it's 10%, if I'm charging 10% more than my competitor, when I calculated that, because if I charge the same, I'd get 8% profit or 9% profit, then I make sure that I give additional value for that extra, for that.
Exactly.
So for me is a critical, the financial aspect of it. You know, you can talk about technology all day, but it doesn't mean a thing if you're not making any profit.
Right.
The financial aspect of working towards, and you may want 12, you may want 18%. I use 15 as a benchmark, but I was happy with 15% net profit on a business. And
okay, and just to be clear to everybody, that's 15% after paying yourself as an owner, after paying your company profit, and of course paying Uncle Sam. So you have to make sure that it's 15% net profit after all of that, and no skimming. Guys, no skimming on owner's income. None of that things. I'll pay somebody first and then myself second. Profit, owner's income, and Uncle Sam, and of course your staff that is just like you, wants to live the good life. So
I'll give you a second one.
yes,
If we want to elevate the industry,
yes,
I always hear people saying, I'm fed up of being called a trade. We study so long to become professional, and yet we're called a trade. If you want to elevate the perception of our industry to a profession, then we should look at charging an hourly rate for our services. That's one. Calculate what you're worth an hour.
what's the value? Yeah.
The customer, whether it's color, whatever, this is what I'm worth an hour, charge an hourly rate. That's one part of the equation. All professional people charge an hourly rate. The other thing, which is going to be extremely unpopular, is stop taking tips. Build your tips into the price structure.
Profit. Yeah.
Right? Not the profit, no. Build it into your price structure. So if you charge $60, add 15% to that price in your price structure, and you're not going to get a percentage of that 15%. You're going to give it to the service provider of the top line, right?
And I want to bring that up also to say to everybody who's listened to Leon, this conversation has been going back and forth for a long time. Myself, when I was running Maxime, that's exactly, we were tipless salon for quite some time. Now, I just want to recommend, just don't make the decision overnight and don't make the decision by yourself. It is a fantastic decision. You cannot lose from it, but you want to make sure that your team understand the value of it and speak to them. You know, when it comes to something like change like that, it requires good leadership, which means good coaching around that and the agreement of your team on that. So just want to send it out there.
Well, let me kind of endorse that by saying, do we want to be associated with baristas, taxi drivers, and service providers? Or do we want to think of yourself as architects and nurses and doctors, because the people who accept tips are generally not high skilled. So if you want to elevate the industry to profession and the perception, you have to
Absolutely.
study it. You can't just do it overnight, as you said. But this will separate the industry.
Yes.
This will separate the high end
Yeah.
from the future or carrying on with the model that we've got now. And we know what will happen if we do that.
I absolutely agree. It's a fantastic thing. I know, Leon, you come from England and I come from Israel, and over there are no such a things as tips. There has never been tips. But if everybody looks at it, as a doctor doesn't get a tip, a plumber doesn't get a tip, a lawyer doesn't get a tip, and so if we, like Leon says, want to bring our professionalism to a higher level, we have to think like that. We have to think just like that. And you know what? You remove the guessing from the consumer perspective, the time that goes into it, and everything else that attached to it. So I think that's fabulous, Leon, that you brought it up. I think it's important for people to see the value of it.
Number 3, this is going to be more popular.
Yeah.
You
might get a pushback, a lot of pushback from that. I know you will. But what's number 3? What's gem number 3?
But at the end of the day, it can't be the elephant in the room. We just got to say what we see as a vision.
Absolutely.
Number 3 is the most important thing, is to change the way you look at the people that enter your business. I see them as consumers. I don't see them as guests. Guests come to my home and I wouldn't want to sell to them. I can't imagine greeting people and saying, I haven't seen you yet, come through, have a glass of wine, $15, please. You don't charge guests. So it's a mindset. Now, don't get me wrong.
I love that. I love that.
You should always give them the highest standards of service.
Yeah.
You should always give them the highest standards of services, the quality of your work, but always think of them as a consumer and sell appropriately what is right for them. And I think that's a mindset that we have to get into.
Yeah, and I want to bring an example to resonate with that, because we all were taught over the years that you look at your guest as clients first. Then we change it to guest, be our guest. And then we change, now we got to think about it differently. We need to think about it as consumers. We need to think of it the way Amazon look at things, the way Disneyland, Walt Disney treat their people, the way the Ritz treat their people. They treat them in the highest level of service. And when the very first time that you think that you've always treated your clients or your guest or your consumer at the highest level of service, it's time to change and level up, right? Because it becomes an average. So you need to move it up again. What I like about that is that yet, even though we give such an amazing amount of value and we are leveling it up, we're still going to charge top dollar for it. It's business. At the end of the day, like Madelyn said, treat it as a business and as a consumer, and how we can wow them.
Number 4 is study serious, successful people and businesses outside of the beauty industry.
That's where I was going.
If you think of the best retailers,
Yeah.
if you think of the best service providers, Michelin restaurants, the best marketers, the best at social media, study the best and implement the best practices of those people into your business, into your model. And what we do as an industry is we have some business forums, we have some shows, and they're excellent at best practices. But we need to keep that and go outside, because it's the same consumer that goes into Apple stores and Starbucks that comes into our salons, and they're getting different experiences. They're getting personalized experiences, not generic experiences. So we need to elevate that to studying the best of the best if we really want to maximize the potential of our business. And why wouldn't we want to do that?
Mm. So in retrospect, and Leon, if you can say that one more time, that last sentence louder, please. That was very profound, and I think that's really important for us to hear it one more time.
What I said was, look and study the best of the best outside of our industry, as well as best practices within. But I think we do that already.
Yeah.
Because if we want to maximize the potential of our business, we need to study the best and emulate the best practices of all those components into our business. And why would we not want to maximize the potential of our business?
Yeah. And how we can optimize it, if not learning from the people who do the best. And so we can do that. Now, there's been a lot of changes already in our industry. But when it comes to design, which, you know, I love talking about that. When it comes to design, Leon, and I just wish you guys all have seen the design behind Leon and Madelyn. You know, it's just beautiful. There's just so much go into when you walk into a design in order to get the right vibe. What do you see the future in as a reception area? What do you see the flow of a consumer? How long they should actually be in a chair? Should they be in a chair? Should they be on a pod, like, even though it's inside a salon? In terms of that, what would be best practices? And thank you for all the gems.
64% of all consumers like to be isolated when they're getting their hair done. And you might think, well, that's because of COVID. No, the survey was done 2018, and I would assume that number has not gone down. So in answer to your question, what do they see as they walk in? What should they see? What you're looking at is a series of environmental psychology. So when you walk in a retail area, the fundamental goal is to design it to raise dopamine, to create a buying environment within that area. When you are in the shampoo area, you want to create a calming, relaxing environment. When you're in the color area, it should be a fun area environment, and the styling area should be energetic. So it's what you're doing is you're creating a series of environments around the umbrella of the ultimate consumer experience. So it's not just one environment, it's a series of environments that blend together. So you have a series of experiences. And the only way you can give a true personal experience is within a pod system where you can see the rest of the consumers, because there's glass between you. And I don't mean these barriers, I'm talking about a pod that's open.
Yeah.
And you can choose them, your own music, you can choose your own lighting, you can choose the personal experiences. So I do see a great future for personalization and entertainment. It's easy to predict the future.
Yeah.
Study the people who's going to occupy it. What do they want? And design your model around their emotions. That's what serious retailers and service providers do outside of the industry.
Right.
Study the consumer and do it accordingly. And in the retail area, you want a series of different foundations that subliminally maximize that emotion. You know, when you walk in from the outside to any store, your pace is different because you're walking fast when you're outside. Your nerve endings are different. The lighting's different. The essence is different. The future salon is going to have piped essences.
Yeah.
In different areas to be invigorating or calming.
I was speaking to our copywriter, Lacey Simon, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago. And she said the words are so important right now. Like the words such as private. The word private is something that gives people personalization feeling, safety. So it's no longer even the word safe. Now we're moving into the word private, and how it's about that person, even if it's in the environment of a company. So if you have a private feeling within a team feeling, it feels great. It feels great. And I think I'd love to see how that's shaped up. And I love the idea of the pods. I think they're fantastic because you can design them to be private with a door, or private with a curtain, or private without a curtain. And I think you can make them as private as, image on them, or being translucent. And I just love also the idea of having privacy and intimacy in the shampoo area. Us women, we don't love to just put our feet on a chair, get our shampoo done, and everybody's looking on our skirts. That just gotta go, right? On our legs. So privacy is great. I think that would be amazing. Aromatherapy while you're at there, some lights and moods ambiance, like the blue lights we have behind you.
You're right. Somebody told me a story a long time ago, and it's worth repeating, that this person won a $500 haircut, and they turned up with the voucher of a $500 haircut. What do you expect to get from a $500 haircut? How would you be greeted by the greeter? When you go through, how would the consultation be? Would there be a grand piano playing in the corner? The shampoo, the massage, would it be legal? All of these kind of aspects of it. And then the tools you've got, would it be brought on a cushion with scissors, comb, brushes? You've walked out of there like a princess. Now, the next time you want your hair done, would you pay $500 to go back? Probably not. But what the key is, do the $500 service for your normal service. So if it's $70 or $80, give the $500 service. Give that value.
Yeah.
And that is a sustainable personal experience that costs nothing.
Make sure you build this into your profitability model. With everybody out there, we have to understand how to do it, and it's not easy. I sit down in front of many of our guests and many of our clients and Salon Cadence clients, and like today, we sat down and we talked about numbers, and numbers are really black and white. They tell you the truth. And it's not hard, guys, to build the economics behind the end results. And I like what you said, Leon. Build it around the profit that you want to be in. Set your prices first. What is the profitability? Now, for anybody here who wants to learn a little bit more about profit, on the 24th, we are having the Profit First webinar with Salon Cadence. This is when you're going to learn how to create the profit first in your company and what can you do to really afford a high qualified team of dedicated team in the future. How to even create 4 weeks vacation if you wanted in a year in your company. Yes, you can design all of that. Like Leon said, you work around what is your goals, what do you want, and work backwards and build the economics behind it. So I think that's the best gem we can all come up and saying, because Leon, you built and you owned 300 salons.
320.
Exactly. Maybe I screwed that one up. 320 salon in the USA. Hey, Terry. Terry's just jumped on our call. So coming from somebody who managed 320 salons, profitable salons that were sold, okay, we just got to listen to that jam, guys. And like Leon said, what happened in those years, is not different than what it is. The biggest problem is we're not changing. You know, in 1950 is not that much different in the way we're dealing with business in 2000 until 2019. But 2020 kicked us in our ass. So we got to kick it back. Terry, what do you think? Leon, are you with me on that, or are you frozen?
Oh no, I thought you were talking to Terry. No, you're absolutely right. I tell you what I use, because it's an emotive word. You said words are so important. I never use the word change. I use evolve, because you could change for the worse. You could change for the better, but you can never evolve for the worse. So in all my communication, you know, if I say to staff or salon, we're going to change, there's a defense mechanism coming up. That's automatic, because
Absolutely.
people generally like change.
Yeah.
But if I say we're going to evolve it, we're going to create more profit, we're going all these emotive hot buttons.
You know, my grandmother always used to tell me, Ronnie, change is a good thing. Change is a good thing. You know, coming from my grandmother, I still say there's nothing wrong with change. It's just that how you use that word, Leon. You know, you can say the same thing with goals. Some people say goals. Oh my God, I don't like the word goals. And then you can switch it and maybe say desires, you know. So if you switch it to desires, I'm like, oh, that's pretty sexy to me. That's much better than goals, right? So I agree with what you say. Pivoting is a great word, and elevation and evolving is a great word. I love change. So
You said you're going to change, and I'm going to decrease your profits. You see, you have to endorse it. Change on its own, you can't just use the word change and make everyone feel comfortable, because people don't.
right.
Use it. If I say to anyone without any other word added to it, we're going to evolve, I don't need to endorse that.
You're right.
You know, it's just that word on its own.
You're right.
Several sentences afterwards.
I totally agree. I see the points. When you said evolve, that struck great emotion with me. When you said change, yeah, I can see how that can be stressful.
For some.
Yeah. Yeah. Terry said yes. Bill says yes. So we're going with evolving, guys. All right. So I think we had an extraordinary focused session here. I get a lot of great comments, everybody. I know you cannot see the comments. I can see them as they come along. But I think we get you guys have really put things in perspective. And Madelyn, in order to capture everything in a photo and an image, what do you recommend from all the salons around to invest in?
Invest in your image. Invest in what you want your clientele, your consumer, to think of you. You want them to think of you as the best, and I have to go there, and that is my place. That is my. It's like the, you know, you go to work and you go out to eat, and then but this is a place where you can go and chill and be comfortable.
It's your club.
It's your
Third place.
your third place. It's your club.
And to add to it, you know, don't make it your club. Make it what the consumer would want it to be,
Yes.
and not you. That's the number one aha I think we learned here today from you guys. And in the prospection of a lot of people, you know, need fashion designers. They need fashion consulting. Not everybody has great presentation, you know. Not everybody know what's good colors to have. I don't care how professional you are, how amazing you are. You need coaching, you need guiding, you need consulting. Leon.
Absolutely right.
How do we get a professional advice and consulting about what our salon should look like, should feel like, having a flow, a great consumer flow, and a great team flow.
Well,
Where can we get that information or help?
I just want to endorse what you're saying. You know, when I had salons, there was
He's endorsing me, but not the change, guys. Mind you that.
when I had salons, there were no such thing as coaches. We never had them in those days. But what I had was people that I respect in specific subjects who were far better than me. I had a financial controller that was smart as a whippet. I had a PR person that really knew how to do that. I had a marketing person. Each person brought nuggets and was far more knowledgeable than I was. I learned what they did. I had to understand it. But without them, I wouldn't be able to do it. So nowadays, you need someone, every salon owner needs some support. Every salon owner. You may be brilliant at accountancy, but you don't know how to do PR. You'd be great at marketing, but you don't know financing. And it's it's finding out a diagnosis and prognosis of what the challenge is within the salon. And the consultant can help you in that specific area. It doesn't mean to say that you're not good at other things. It just means to say we all need help in certain areas if we want to maximize that potential of the business. When in your question was, what do you do from design? Well, to me, it's using the square footage, whether it's 1,500 or 6,000, to give you the greatest return on investment.
Love it.
What services, cut, color, retail, will give you the greatest return on investment?
Right.
So what I'm doing, I call that A category. In a store, you've got zones. The front is A zone, the middle is B zone, and the back is C zone. All the high-end products are in the front, and then the medium ones and the low-end tickets at the back. So it's the same. Your B is the support to A. Your back bar cabinetry, your staff room, your bathroom, your check-in. Doesn't make you any money, but you need them to run the business.
Yes.
C is if you have any square footage over, then your lower ticket items can come in, but only after that. So the chances are high that if you've got 1,500 square feet, you should be filling it with A's and B to support. You should have no C's.
Yeah.
If you've got 6,000 plus, you can afford to do A, B's and bring in C's because you've got the square footage. But it's a matter of maximizing potential return on investment per square foot.
Yeah.
It's like that end cap.
Yeah.
In Target or all these places is prime real estate.
Yes.
And if you think of your square footage as prime real estate, what is the spot that is the most powerful to not sell, but present to your consumer?
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. What do you get most return on your time? Yeah. What do you get most return on your square footage and on your investment financially? And I think that it's important today, I heard that from my son yesterday, guys. You have not met Will yet. He said something to me yesterday. I don't think, I need to ask him again because I had 2 glasses of wine yesterday. And you know what happens when I have 2 glasses of wine. So he said to me, Mom, when you say you need to work out or you say you need to be healthy and you say, I'm living for my children, I live for my family, I live for my people. You really need to mean that you live for your family. That means get healthy. That means work out. That means invest the knowledge, the time, and really live for us forever, not for a short time. I thought that was so profound, and I wanted to bring it back to the industry and say, if you're saying you live for the consumer, and if you're saying you are a greatest leader and you live for your staff, really do it.
Yeah.
Really give them the value of having a future in your salon, a growth future, being able to always grow, be able for you to always grow. Live for that. Live for that, and let the business work for you instead of you working for the business, you know. And I just thought that my son is just brilliant. So kudos to you, Will. Second time I'm using that tonight. So yeah. Well, listen, guys, this has been smashing, and it's been amazing. The nuggets are not even nuggets; they are major gems that everybody can learn from here and start thinking within the future, and start thinking within dollars, and start thinking within profit. And Leon and Madelyn, you guys are so amazing. Your generosity, you give so much to this industry. And you spend so much time in thinking and researching and learning from outside of the industry and bring it to the industry. And I know, Leon, you're going to be speaking in a couple of months at, I think it's PBA, or is a couple of weeks. And you'll be speaking about technology, which is amazing. You don't want to miss that. We're going to put a link for that. Leon, I know that if anybody wanted to get any consulting when it comes to imagery and when it comes to design for your space, we're going to put a link. But if there's anything else that you want to share with us where we can get more information from you, let me know.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, this has been fantastic. It's too bad we don't have dinner together right now, but all right, guys, so I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. Thank you for being patient with our little technology issues. And I've learned that technology issues will always happen because they're not perfect like humans. And yeah, and I'm going to end tonight. Next week, we have a surprise for you. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you will have to wait and see. And Win Claiborne is going to be at the end of this month, and he's going to be talking about many amazing things about wellness and mental health and what you need to do in order to evolve. Okay, and that's it. So from me to you guys, a lot of kisses, a lot of hugs. Have a great week. A lot of good lessons today, and I'll see you next week. Leon, Madelyn, don't hang up. I'm just going to end up the broadcast. Good night, everybody. Good night, Terry. Good night,
Good night.